Well, folks, big news just came through literally 15 minutes before I hit record on this podcast, and it's that the Buffalo Bills have fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. Joe Brady, the Bills quarterbacks coach, the interim offensive coordinator. And so we're doing an emergency podcast here to break it all down. I want to talk about the decision that was made to fire Ken Dorsey. I want to talk about Joe Brady as the new offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, some thoughts on Josh Allen, and I also want to focus in a little bit on what this firing doesn't mean, as I've seen the quick reaction from many on this decision. It's kind of weird to me, some of the places that some folks are taking it, but we'll get into that, and let's start with the dismissal of Ken Dorsey. He's been fired, and I guess I'm a little surprised that they did it during the season. I thought that the Bills might let it play out. Certainly the writing was on the wall the last 6 weeks. This offense hasn't looked good. And it's disappointing because that's the healthy side of the football, right? That's the side where you have your talent that you're expected to have. And defensively, not so much the case. And so it's underperformed. There's no question about it. Even if statistically it's been good, anybody with two eyes can watch this Bills offense and realize that it's not reaching close to what it's capable of. You have execution errors on top of execution errors. And that's been a big conversation point for me within these all 22 review episodes, which is what I was working on before this news came through. So we had to interrupt that. And funnily enough, I just finished the offensive tape getting ready to start on the defense. But as you watch this, and even in this Denver game that just happened, it's execution error after execution error, mistake after mistake. And while you can point at players for sure for not executing, not catching a pass, not making the right decision, fumbling, missing a block, when there's this much in terms of execution errors, you got to point it right back to the guy coordinating the whole thing and say, why do your players consistently not execute the way that they need to win football games, right? So you can be disappointed in some of the players and some of the miscues there, but the frequency of the execution issues started to really put my eyes right back on Ken Dorsey. And so execution errors, lack of production, 6 weeks in a row, not against good defenses either, right? Like, I think that's frustrating as well. It's not like you're playing these great teams. I mean, you're losing to the Broncos, you're losing to the Jaguars. It's a good team. The Patriots are not. The Jets. I mean, the Bengals, the Texans just ran the ball for 180 yards on the Bengals, right? You're just not performing. You're just not performing. And the problems don't go away. And that's what's frustrating. 6 weeks, you see no growth, right? This lull has literally been 6 weeks long. And within it, you're not any closer to getting out of it. Turnovers, sloppy operation. And you can get into the real details. I mean, you could talk about not enough play action. Last night against Denver, the Bills were down, 22% play action? If that's not above 30, I don't know what to tell you. Not enough under center looks for Josh Allen. Too much shotgun. And not playing and not coordinating an offense that has the ingredients necessary to maximize the talent. And so certainly Ken Dorsey's the fall guy right now. And there's a bigger conversation to be had about the direction of this football team, if it's plateaued with the current nucleus, if bigger decisions aren't out there to be made. But for right now, this is what the Buffalo Bills are doing. They're letting Ken Dorsey go after a 6-week slump that it didn't feel like there was any end in sight, especially with your next opponent being the New York Jets, one of the best defenses in the NFL, and one that, quite honestly, Ken Dorsey hasn't had much of an idea as to how to get his team to perform well against. And now that falls on Joe Brady. So welcome, Joe Brady. You're now the offensive coordinator. Your next assignment, the New York Jets on a short week.